All right, good evening, everybody. It is so wonderful to be back here. As many of you know, I was in Poland last week, and it was just an amazing, amazing experience. I want to share a few thoughts about Poland and the trip that I went on, and then we'll get right into our Mussar Monday program. So, you know, it's really a very difficult trip. Because as much as it's you go, you leave your home, you pack your bags, and you get out there and you go to Poland, it really is an amazing experience. Seeing all the shtetls every single time we were on a bus, and we stayed in Krakow, and then we went. It's about an hour and a half to any place in Poland. It's like smack in the middle of all Poland. So you go an hour and a half south, east, west, wherever you go. It is unbelievable that every single city is a famous Jewish historic city. You had shtetls everywhere. You're talking about the bastion of Jewish life was right there. And you have unbelievable Hasidic dynasties that came out of those cities. You have Tzans, and you have Bells, and you have Satmar, once named St. Mary, right? But all of these different unbelievable communities of Torah study, of learning, of knowledge, of wisdom, of acts of kindness, and there's nothing there. And we're on this bus and we're going through these towns, and it's like a ghost town. It's like there are people living there, but it's like, Shabbos, we had an incredible experience. We were in Krakow, and we're walking through the city, going from our hotel to the synagogue of the Ramah. Now the Ramah, or as they pronounce Remu, right? He was the Ashkenazic author to the Shulchan Aruch. He lived right there, and we went to his cemetery. But so we go from the hotel to, it's about a 20-minute walk, and we put on our talis. And we walk because there's no eruv, there's no boundary identifier. We don't have to get into all of that right now. But so I can't carry my talit. So I put on my talit and we walk to shul. And I was just thinking, because I was walking with several other people, and imagined that 80 years ago, the streets were filled with talis wearing, talis donned men going to shul, and people with their hats, and people with their kippas, and women with the children walking to shul. I mean, imagine the streets were filled with Jews. This was you had, just in the city of Krakow, you had 80,000 Jews.
They all died.
And you go to other cities that were much bigger than Krakow, and you had Jewish life everywhere, all over Poland. And we went the last day on Sunday till Monday morning. Wow. I was here. So this morning at 4 a.m. I left Prague. I was in Prague. And in Prague, it's like you had like entire Jewish communities there. And the city of Prague and the cemetery dates back to the early 1600s. And you have a synagogue there that's standing there from the 1600s, the oldest synagogue in Poland. It's unbelievable. And today, what's left?
Ghosts.
So I'll tell you what's left. We are what's left.
Or we live here.
We are the link. We are that last link in that chain, and we have to make sure that we're not the last link, but that we continue to have a link to pass on to the next generation. That, it's like you think, okay, they may not be there. You know what? Guess what? The Jewish people were once in Rome. The Jewish people were once in wherever you go in the world, there were once Jews there. But you know what? We're not about location. We're about connection. We're about inspiration. We're about growth, about becoming bigger, better people closer to Hashem. So it may not be in Poland, so it'll be someplace else. Prague is in Czechoslovakia, or it's called today Czech Republic, right? And you have just all. I mean, you go to Russia. All over Russia, you had Jews.
Yep.
Belarus, Belarus, with Belarus used to be part of Poland, right? Before World War II, you had the Mir Yeshiva there. You had Baranovich. You had the Volozhin Yeshiva. You had the Hasidic dynasties of Karlin. You talk about everywhere you go, you had a Jewish city. And a thriving Jewish city. They may have won that war. They may have won that battle, but they didn't win the war. They may have won that battle. But the war is won every single day when we come to learn Torah. Whether it's in our homes or it's at a torch class. We are winning the war. Because we are, A, bringing Hashem into this world through that Torah study. B, we're making ourselves hopefully holier, bigger, and better Jews. And additionally, we are hopefully changing the way in which we act so that now we're more God-like. We know the word Adam, we're named Adam, mankind, not because of Adamah, because of the earth. Yeah, that's also a reason. Because it's the same root word. But it's also because it's Adameh. Because we need to emulate God. And the more we learn Torah, the more we absorb the teachings of the Torah, the more it becomes part of who we are. Now, there's another component here, is that we went to many grave sites. And some of them were very, very sad. I mean, it's like, you see, I took a picture on Saturday night. We went to the gravesite of the holy Divrei Chaim. And the Divrei Chaim you know what they said about him? He never went to sleep before he gave out every penny he had.
Yeah.
So one night he couldn't fall asleep. He couldn't fall asleep. He checked his pants and he had 10 kopek in his pocket. So he quickly took the 10 kopek and put it aside to make sure that it's given away. It's not his anymore. He didn't go to sleep at night with money in his pocket. I mean, a person who's totally given to his community. Every penny he had, he gave. I mean, there's so many stories. I mean, I heard such incredible stories. The idea is that where righteous people are buried, there's the Shekhinah, the presence of Hashem resides there. And there's open channels for those prayers. And I want you to know that I prayed for each and every one of you. Right? I did. And I said, I'm here as a representative of the Jewish people of Houston. So that those who want to learn and grow should have those channels opened. And those who want to have success in their marriage, those channels should be open. And those who want to have success in their livelihood, those channels should be open. And I mentioned as many names as possible at the grave sites. And I remember when I was in Auschwitz, and I was like just going through prayers, because there are three different pieces here. Number one is that we are trying to bring an elevation to those souls that were departed. Because that's point number one. It's an elevation. When we are inspired, when we say a prayer, when we resolve to change, to become a better person, in the merit of those who are deceased, because we're inspired, we're just hit like a lightning bolt when we go walk through the ghost town known as Auschwitz or Birkenau, and it's like, and I was in those in the barracks, okay. I showed just to my brother a few minutes ago. I took some pictures. I'll happily show it after class if anyone's interested. And you see that imagine like a warehouse, okay? Warehouse, you can store a lot of things, right? You can store a lot of things in a warehouse, right? But imagine it's just piled up human beings, side one next to the other, all the way to the... Now, that was just one barracks.
It's hard for me to listen to it.
But imagine they had one after another, after another. And I took a picture intentionally of one area where the beds were moved away. So it's just an open area. You just see just a hollow shell. I want you to take a look at the picture. I posted it on Facebook. Take a look at that. And tell me how warm you would be in negative 10 degrees Celsius. Negative 20 degrees Celsius. When I was there, it was 4 degrees Celsius. And it was cold. And I'm wearing a coat. There's no insulation. The walls are very insufficient to keep any type of temperature. Many of those barracks didn't even have chimneys. The chimneys that they had, it's not like they're so caring and concerning. They're there for show. They didn't even work. And here you had all these people, they're freezing to death.
It's amazing they survived it all.
Most didn't. Sadly, most who walked in never walked out. And they wanted to have people die as much as possible, not by their doing, so to speak.
Right.
They died from hunger, they died from freezing, they died from other things. That happens to be that they're not providing them with anything that they can keep themselves warm or so on and so forth. Those people who passed away there, when we're inspired and we say to ourselves, you know what, I have to do more in my Judaism. I have to do more. I have to learn more. I have to give more. I have to dedicate more. I have to be involved more. That's a merit to them. Even if you say one verse from Tehillim, from Psalms, you say one verse of the Torah, you say something inspirational, you call a friend and say, you know what, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. That's a merit to those who are deceased. Right? Their bodies can't do anything else. But their soul lives on. That's number one. The second thing is that we don't see a life ending at death. A life doesn't end at death. Those souls performed their absolute perfection in this world, albeit some of them were cut many, many years short. But they accomplished their perfection. How? By doing the ultimate mitzvah. The ultimate mitzvah that a Jew can perform is giving his life for his Judaism. Giving up one's life because you're Jewish is the greatest mitzvah one can perform. And these Jews were taken for one reason, because they're Jewish. If their name was not Goldberg, but rather a non-Jewish name, right? It's very interesting, though, that these animals who murdered our brethren, they were very systematic. They were very organized. I said earlier that what Jeff Bezos is to sales and Amazon and efficiency and getting your product that you order is one of a billion products that they carry on their website, and they get it to you within a day or two. Right? It's unbelievable efficiency.
It is.
Well, that was the Hitler was the Jeff Bezos of murder. That was you understand? How did they know where all the Jews were? How did they know who was Jewish and who wasn't Jewish? So this is an interesting side story that they had their school system in Germany. This is in Germany itself. They did a few years before the war broke out. They had a special project in all the schools, learn your heritage. And they had all the students from all the grades, from youngest to oldest grades, do a whole national project about who their parents were, their grandparents, and and they recorded everything. So when someone when the war broke out, would say, "Oh, I'm Christian," or "I'm whatever." He said, "No, you're not. We know exactly who you are." And sadly, it's really devastating to think. But we need to, and this, I wrote this also, is that Rabbi Noah Weinberg said, is that we need to use the wisdom that they used to destroy Judaism to build Judaism. He used incredible wisdom, incredible smarts to destroy us. We need to employ the same exact wisdom to build. And that's our job. Is to not just go and say, "Oh, well, woe to us. The whole world hates us." No, that's not our job. Our job is to leave and say, "You know what? We're resolving to change. We're resolving to make sure that we're never going to allow this to happen." You know why? Because we're going to be so Jewish. We're not going to hide our Judaism. We're going to be proud of our Judaism. And we're going to invest in our Judaism. That we can't walk away from such a thing and just say, "It's really terrible. Those animals." That's not going to change anything for us. We have to say, you know what, we need to improve, we need to change, we need to enhance the life we're living and make it more Jewish and figure out a way that we're going to be today more Jewish than we were yesterday. And whatever it is, everyone can take their own small commitment to do something. And that's one of the reasons I really, really want to take a trip out, a torch trip to Poland, to get a group together and to walk through those same streets and walk through, experience the life they lived. It's something of the past. I'm not a historian. I'm not either a historian, right? I've actually never done this before. And now I was thinking, why have I never done it before? There's no reason we don't go back and see. It's like, anybody here not intrigued to see their childhood home that they grew up in? They just want to pass by, say hi, just like something, right? This is, we're going to our grandparents and our great-grandparents back to see the life they lived. And they weren't ready to let go of it. They weren't ready to hide from it. We're not going to give up our faith. We're not going to give up our connection. And there's so much to learn and to grow from this whole trip. It's really many of the participants, and I didn't know. I knew only 3 of the people who came on the trip. It was 35, 40 of us, and we became like a family, because it's like we're singing. I don't know if you've seen the video that I posted of us singing in a circle in middle of the camp, like right by the train tracks, right when where the trains pulled in. So I think it's I uploaded it this morning, I believe. And
is the Facebook under your name?
Yeah, it's my name, under my name. Yeah, it's under day 2, Auschwitz-Birkenau, and we're singing over there like nothing's, but I don't think there was one of us who was not crying. We're crying, in a way, tears of tremendous sadness, but also tears of joy. Look at us. We're a Jewish nation that has more Torah being learned today than ever before. We have yeshivas and girls, Beth Jacobs, which is girls' schools, dedicated to Torah study and to learning, like never before. We were just in Israel, right? We went to the Mir Yeshiva. You have 9,500 people sitting and learning Torah. And you see it, you walk in and you're like, whoa, this is unbelievable, the power of Torah. We may have lost that battle. We certainly did not lose that war. We won that war. You walk in, every 5 feet you have another yeshiva in Jerusalem. You go in New York, New Jersey, you have yeshivas all over the place. In Chicago, in LA, in Miami, you have yeshivas flourishing, and here in Houston too, we have many different Jewish day schools. They have a girls' high school. You have the Emory Wiener. Hopefully, there's enough Jewish content going on over there. so that the kids are filled with Torah knowledge, Jewish pride. We can't say, okay, well, you know what, it happened. What happened happened, and we just have to get machine guns and AK-47s and more, yeah. Really, Jews aren't known as the greatest fighters, right? We have brains. It's true. We have, thank God, Hashem has blessed us with a holy land of Israel and an amazing Israel Defense Force and Air Force and Mossad and Shabak and great tools. But still, that's not, the Jewish people weren't warriors. Right? If people started up, we had to take care of business. Okay. But at the end of the day, we have to build a relationship with Hashem, and that's through His mitzvahs. It's through the Torah study. That's really where it's built. Hashem yilachem lachem v'atem tacharishnu. Hashem says, you plow in the study hall. I'll protect you. Hashem has greater power and greater force than any of us. Okay, so let's go back to our first chapter. We're going to conclude the first chapter of Mesilat Yesharim. And as a summary, we said as follows: attaining true piety and sincerely serving Hashem requires a strong foundation and healthy roots. Right? You can't just serve Hashem, right, without having the foundation, without having the proper roots. And these are to recognize the purpose for which a person was created and to identify what one's goal in life should be. So every person here in this room, every person out there watching this, every person in the world has something special, something unique. It's a big problem that we're living in a culture, in a society, that everyone's looking at what the other person has and what the other person is doing. They're trying to mimic this person. Oh, I want to buy those shoes because someone else has those shoes. I want to buy that hat because someone else has that hat. I want to wear this outfit and that outfit because I like it. I saw someone else. Oh, where did you get it? Oh, really? Great. So, it's like we shouldn't be looking at what other people have. Everyone internally, not only not only externally, but spiritually, we all have something special, something unique to offer. And we have to identify what is that unique gift that I have that's special, that I can contribute to the world. Just to be another Joe, that's not what God put us here, with our talents, with our abilities. God put us here for something so much greater. To be you. To be the special you that you are here with such great talents, with such great abilities. There's only one you. Do you know how many people have your fingerprint? No one. You're the only you there will ever be. You're the only human being, you're the only creation on planet Earth that ever was and ever will be that has your DNA.
Except identical twins.
Even identical twins. They don't have the same fingerprints and they don't have the same right? They don't. They don't like the same colors. They don't like the same clothes. They don't like the same styles. They don't like the same... I know many identical twins, and there's like nothing could be more different than those two individuals who are in the same womb together, right? Yeah, they look a little bit alike, yeah, to most people. Such different personalities. And again, different fingerprints. Because Hashem puts every person in this world to fulfill a very unique and special mission. And it's a mission that they themselves can accomplish. And nobody else can accomplish it for you. So believe it or not, every person in this room and every person watching at home has a special responsibility, a special task that they are in charge of, and Hashem will hold us accountable. I've sent you with such great talents to be a writer, to be a great orator, to be a great a leader, to be a volunteer, to assist, to inspire people, to talk, whatever it is. to show people what happiness is, to show people what kindness is, to perfect a negative trait, to overcome anger. Everyone has something unique that Hashem wants you to be the example to the world of how great you can be. So every person needs to recognize that. Now, how do we do that? It's always a question that I get in teaching this class. Is how do I find out what my talents are? How do I find out what my abilities are? So we actually have a Mussar worksheet, and you can mark yourself, and you can evaluate where you are. You can be honest with yourself. You can write that you're perfect at everything, and you'll never fix anything, right? But right, that may make you feel good for a second, for a moment. But this worksheet really gives you a chance to introspect and to think, you know what? Where are my qualities? Where are my virtues? And where are my shortcomings? And these shortcomings are not there to knock you down. Those shortcomings are there to help you grow. Because if you don't know that you have a bad temper, and if you don't identify it, I guarantee you, you'll never be able to fix it. But the minute you identify it, now you can fix it. Now you have a chance of fixing it. But if you don't identify it, you're ignoring it. So you're never going to be able to fix it. So that's one tool that I have, and anybody who wants, to our friends online, I'll be happy to email it to you. If you email me, ask me for the Mussar checklist, character trait checklist. It's 13 random positive and 13 random negative traits that I've selected arbitrarily, without any rhyme or reason. I just picked 13 positive and 13 negative traits, and you can test yourself and see where you're holding. That's one way. There's another way, and that is to think back to your youth. Think of the different ways in which you acted and interacted. Was honesty something that was strong when you were a child? Let's say the truth. I don't care what the repercussions were. I was kind even if I had to miss out on my own ice cream. I was kind and gave it to someone else. You understand? If you're able to think about your own past, and it's much easier when you think about your past as a child. You know, were you nice to other people? Were you friendly? Were you generous? Were you jealous? You can look at many different things of your childhood and say, you know what? There's a certain pattern here. Now, it's not, no one has fun finding their own flaws. But again, it's a necessary requirement for a person to grow. You have to identify what it is. If you're bad with making right turns when you drive, if you don't identify that, you'll never be able to fix it. But once you identify it, okay, now you can pay attention, you can work on it. That is the goal. No one here is perfect, aside from my wife. But no one here is perfect. If she's watching. If she's not watching, then, right? We're human beings. And as human beings, we all have flaws. We all have shortcomings. And it's fine. As Jews, as human beings, we have flaws, right? We have a lot of virtues, a lot of incredible virtues, and I think it's more important to identify your qualities and your virtues before identifying your flaws. Don't knock yourself. First, build yourself. Identify your qualities. What are they? Don't think that you're arrogant. I remember we went to my grandfather and we asked him, how do we work on arrogance? How do we work on it? You know, it's like, he said, we were all single guys then. He says, that, you can wait till you get married. Your wife will take care of that. So,
a wise man.
but the truth is that's there's nothing that fulfills a home more than a man who works on himself and a wife who's there to help. That's what a wife is there for. A wife is there to assist her husband in perfecting himself. She's at the top of the ladder. He's at the bottom of the ladder. And she needs to help him rung by rung, help him get up without falling down, without compromising on her own status at the top of the ladder. Where was Jacob when he had his dream? He was at the bottom of the ladder, symbolizing man's need to growth, to constantly be growing step by step, but also that his place was at the bottom of the ladder. Men are at the bottom of the ladder. Women are at the top. The challenge for men is to constantly be growing. The challenge for women is to stay at the top and not fall. And if you speak to men or to women and have asked, the challenge that women have is maintaining their status. The challenge that men have is moving off that couch and getting started to work on themselves. Right? But it has to start with qualities, identifying the qualities, and not to worry. Oh, if I'm going to start thinking that I have this quality or that quality, then I'm going to be arrogant, right? No, you're just being realist. You're being a realist, and you're recognizing the traits that you have. They're a gift from Hashem, and you're obligated to identify them. Woe is to someone who doesn't know their own qualities. You don't know your own qualities, you're blind. Hashem gave it to us for a reason. And He gave it to us for the reason of finding a way to perfect it. So if you have kindness, how many ounces of kindness? Are you 10 out of 10? Or are you 6 out of 10? Okay, so how are you going to get it from 6 to 10? Right? You're kind? Okay, how are you going to perfect that kindness? Truth. Is truth a virtue that you have? Yes. I'm truthful. 100%? White lies? How much are we really there 100%? Well, let's mark it down. Be honest. Am I forgiving? Very forgiving. I'm willing to overlook things, but not that person. And not that person. But everybody else I'm fine with. Well, how do we get to the point where we actually take it to a 10 out of 10 in all of the traits? First thing we need to do is identify it. If we don't identify it, we can't heal it. We can't help it grow. So that's really the first job. Again, another tool for that is looking back at your childhood and seeing those qualities and or flaws. And again, it's much easier to look at the past and say, you know what, yeah, I was probably wrong. I was a little obnoxious. I was a little, yeah, you know. You could. It's much easier to look at the past and to try to judge objectively. If someone tells you, you know, the way you acted yesterday was really disgusting, you might not accept it so lovingly, right? Again, okay. Our sages have taught that the world in which we live in is not our ultimate destination, but merely a place in which to prepare for the world to come. Where in the world to come, where we will delight in the closeness to Hashem. The mitzvahs, which can be performed only in this world, are the means of preparing for this eternal delight and earning it. So every mitzvah that one performs, whether it's the mitzvah of praying, the mitzvah of Shabbos, the mitzvah of tefillin, the mitzvah of tzitzit, the mitzvah of mezuzah, any mitzvah that you can pick in the Torah. Loving your neighbor as yourself, loaning money, not taking revenge. These are simple mitzvahs, fundamental mitzvahs in the Torah. Right? The perfection in which we perform this mitzvah helps us in our growth, helps us in our connection to Hashem. Moreover, they are the means through which one is able to cleave to Hashem, which is the ultimate good and the true perfection. This world is filled with material attractions that, if followed, draw a person away from the ultimate good. In fact, every situation in this world presents a challenge to one's mission of becoming closer to Hashem. Believe it or not, there isn't an advertisement that you will see on television, if you bother to spend the time watching television. But guess what? There's nothing that you will see that isn't deliberately placed there by the Yetzer Hara to distract you from your mission. It's always there to distract you. To the extent that one succeeds in overcoming these challenges, he will attain that closeness and ultimately rejoice in it. The closer you are to Hashem, the more fulfilled, the more happy you will be. The entire world was created to serve mankind in this endeavor. Thus, if one succumbs to its enticements and lets himself be pulled away from Hashem, he degrades all of creation along with himself. But if one cleaves to Hashem and utilizes the world for his service, the service of Hashem, he elevates all of creation along with himself. So here a person has an incredible opportunity to take all of that material and make it into something valuable. So I'll give you an example. Do you know what people spend the majority of their time online doing? People are spending today an average of 7 to 13 hours a day on the internet.
Playing their games.
So they're playing games,
Facebook.
YouTube.
Social media.
YouTube still is the highest. People watching videos all day. So how about we turn a trick on our Yetzer Hara? We'll be on YouTube, but we can watch a Torah video.
Yeah, that's what we do every day.
And there we go. Right? We could use Facebook, but use it for good causes. Use it to promote good causes. Use it to learn about good causes. But not to waste time. Not to talk about what people ate for lunch and have a picture of their food. Right?
Very interesting.
But you see that's the type of usage of material that is wasting away at people's lives. A person can decide to not do that and use it for good. It's right there. Again, these are things that we're all familiar with. A person has a car, right? The car could be used as a tool to be arrogant, to be prideful, to show off. Or they can say, you know what? I have a car. God blessed me. I was able to buy a nice car. I'm going to use it for mitzvah. I know Ed, the back of his beautiful car, has like an entire Home Depot there. So if you're ever in need of any type of tool, he's got it right in the trunk of his car. He's always ready to help. That's a mitzvah. And when we needed here at the Torch Center right after Hurricane Harvey, right? Ed was like tearing apart the walls. He had every tool you need. I got it right in my trunk. One second. I got all the different bits for that. I got all the different tools, right? Using it, it's not just as it's a tool. His vehicle became a mitzvah mobile, right? And that's the way we need to think. It's not just about servicing it. How much do we take care of our car? If it got a scratch, if it got a dent, if it got a... It's there to serve us, not for us to serve it. It's there to usher us in our doing of mitzvahs. So not to play the servant role to the materialism. Logic also dictates that this is man's purpose in life. How could this world be man's true destination when life here is filled with trials and tribulations, ultimately ending in death? Moreover, if man had been created for the sake of enjoying this world, Hashem would not have endowed him with a soul that is greater in spirituality than even the angels. Remember, we discussed this. The soul that we have is capable of such high levels. In fact, the Aryeh in Parshas Vayakel, in the portion of Vayakel, the Aryeh, the great commentator, says that why do we send the angels away when we sing Shalom Aleichem? We say, welcome to the angels. We say, Bo'achem, your coming should be with blessing. Bless us, dear angels. And then what do we say? And now you can leave. Thank you very much. Setchem l'shalom. Leave in peace, angels. Why do we send the angels away? We just welcome them, we ask them for blessings, and then we say goodbye? The Or Chaim says an amazing thing. The Or Chaim says, because the angels aren't capable of the spiritual elevation that a Jew experiences on Shabbos. In the proper observance of Shabbos, we go to such high levels, spiritually, that angels can't handle it. So we have to tell angels, you know what? Now it's time to go. That's what Or Chaim says. That's what Shabbos is. One mitzvah. Shabbos. A Jew gets to such a high level on Shabbos spiritually, the angels can't even handle that. And that's what we're saying here. Hashem would not have endowed us with the soul that is greater in spirituality than even the angels, and that finds no pleasure in material matters. You know, your soul, you can feed it pizza and Coca-Cola and vacations and all the luxuries in the world, and it doesn't please the soul one iota. Nothing. There's no physical object in the world, there's no physical pleasure in the world that can fulfill a spiritual soul. None. You can give it all of the luxuries in the world. It's not going to affect, it's not going to fulfill the soul even one drop. Clearly, the purpose of the soul is to enable man to serve Hashem in this world and to enjoy the delights of the world to come. This, then, is the very purpose of man's creation. The reason why we were created was to elevate ourselves spiritually. That is why we're here. And it fits with what we've been talking the past 10, however long weeks. Where's Ben? Where's Ben when we need him? Right? He's telling us what week we're in on Mesilat Yesharim. Right? So again, we have to understand that our neshama, our soul, does not get fulfilled by coffee. It doesn't get fulfilled by physical things whatsoever. Our soul only gets filled up with when it's involved with a spiritual matter, with the mitzvah, with study of Torah. Realizing this opens one's eyes to the importance of the mitzvahs and the divine service and the degree to which one must be meticulous with them. They directly impact one's eternal spiritual state, which is more precious than anything else. It follows that one's entire focus in life should be on the goal of becoming closer to Hashem and avoiding anything that can distance one from Him. So, if you think that going someplace is going to hamper your ability to connect to Hashem, don't go there. Don't go there. If you think that going out with those friends is going to be to your spiritual detriment, don't go. I had a lady call me once. She says, Rabbi, what do I do? You know, I'm learning and I'm growing and I want to become a better person. There's a group of friends we've been meeting for 10, 15 years. And guess what we do every Tuesday morning? We go to Starbucks and we talk about everybody. We talk about everybody. We sit and we yenta and we talk about this. Did you hear about them? And did you? She said for 2 hours, 3 hours, we sit and we talk about everyone. That's what we do. And I know that this is against the Torah. The Torah says not to talk Lashon Hara. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Did I heard that? 2 3 hours of talking only about everybody else. So I said, do you have to go? I said, well, what are they going to think? What, again, right? So it gets, you know, the Yetzer Hara is smart. He picks up on things. You know, we want to have approval from our friends. We want our friends to accept us. We want our friends to love us. We want our friends, if they're going to see that suddenly we're hard line on spiritual focus, right? They're going to be like, oh, they're a little, you know, they went a little crazy off the deep end. You know, this religious stuff, right? It's, you know, a person has to make a difficult choice. It's a very difficult challenge. And I want you to know something. There is not a human being on planet Earth. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein didn't wake up one morning, rub his eyes, wash his hands, Netilat Yadayim in the morning, and say, I'm going to be a Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. No. He had many struggles that he needed to face and overcome those challenges, one after another, and then he became a Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. He wasn't born a Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. And Rabbi Shlomo Wolbe wasn't born a Rabbi Shlomo Wolbe. He had many difficult challenges that he faced along his life that he was, going to be a little bit unpopular, People weren't going to like him so much. So you think you're better than us, huh? Right? I'm sure we all hear that from our friends. Oh, you go to learn by Torch. Yeah.
I've never had that reaction from my friends. My friends go, you go into Torch? Wonderful.
So why aren't they here? They need to come here.
They want me to come.
You go for us. Have us in mind, right? But me, my soul, no. All right. I'm fine without that. Right? Again, it's the Yetzer Hara, so smart. He knows it. Social pressure works. It really works. I say that when someone wants to change their life to a more Torah observant lifestyle, the biggest challenge by far that they will experience is the societal change. It's their social circles that suddenly change. They're like, well, my friends aren't going to accept me anymore. The people I looked up to till now, they're not. They're going to think of me a little, right? Well, it's all, one second. If the goal is for me to connect more to Hashem and to be connected with my essence of who I am, what does it make a difference? Are they ready to take responsibility for my soul? Are they ready to take responsibility? Imagine this. Imagine I tell you like this. Okay, your job is to make $50 million. Yeah, I'll tell you. There's a parable that's told. There's a king that told his advisors, listen, you're going to that other king, okay? Whatever he says, don't negotiate with him on anything. Don't agree to any type of deal. Nothing. Under any circumstances. You got it? Got it. So they go to the other king, and the king says, I wanted to talk to you about a deal. They're like, the king told us no deals, no deals. He says, okay, $10,000, will you talk about a deal? No deals. Okay? So eventually the king says to him, see, they're going 10 to 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. Like, this is getting real money. He says, you know what, how about this? I give you $1 million, and I give your king $1 million. So, okay, that's too good. Too good of an offer to refuse, right? So they come back to the king and say, guess what? We made a deal. I told you not to make a deal. They said, what do you mean? But we made a great deal. It was $1 million for us, $1 million for you. He says, yeah, but I made him a deal, and I told him that he'll never be able to persuade my people to make a deal. It's going to cost me $20 million. Right? So Hashem charges us with the responsibility. Hashem charges us with that responsibility. Of a responsibility to maximize the world we're living in, to maximize the life we're living, to maximize the soul that's embedded within us. And we have this Yetzer Hara playing games with us constantly. He isn't bored for a second, right? He's thinking constantly of ways to destroy our spiritual growth. He says, you know what? Here's the deal. Go learn, but don't change. Right? Learn. It's very important. Be educated. Yeah, learn, but don't change. Right? There's a big, right? The Yetzer Hara smart like that. And he says, okay, so he's going to go learn, but I'm not going to become that much a fanatic. I can learn, but not, The Yetzer Hara is very, very smart. The Yetzer Hara's job is to distract us. That's his job. Our job is to not allow ourselves to be distracted. Is to stay focused. Does this or does this not help me towards my goal? And that again goes back to the beginning of what we said at the beginning of the chapter. Every person needs to know, why am I here? You need to ask yourself, Howard is here for this reason. Howard needs to be able to look in the mirror and say, Hashem put me in this world for this special reason. Nothing's going to stop me. Not my career, not my friends, not my neighbors, nothing. Because this is why Hashem put me here. And we go and get it. And nothing stops us. Of course, we have to be smart in how we approach it. We have to be smart in how we do it. And that's what the rest of this book is about. It's how do we attain that. So the Ramchal lays the groundwork here in this first chapter. What he says is, first, let's get the big picture. Why are we here? Why are we here? Now that we've established why we're here, to connect to Hashem, to elevate our soul, to bring it to its perfection, okay, I know what I'm here for. Now how do I get there? And that's the next chapter that we'll start next week. Will be how we elevate, how we take that soul that's so precious. We know what we want to do. Now we have to take it step by step and elevate it up, put it up that ladder of spiritual growth. Put it through the test of life. Right? There's nobody in this world who doesn't have a challenge. If you thought you were special and you're the only one who has a challenge, I'm sorry to blow your bubble. Right? To burst your bubble. But guess what? Everybody's got a challenge. Everybody is dealing with issues every single day. One person, it's their health. One person, it's their family. One person, it's their spouse. One, it's their children. One, it's their dreams. One, it's their hopes. One, it's their finances. One, it's everybody's got something. There's nobody who's got a perfect life. In our perspective, we're like, oh, that person's got it worked out. Trust me, I've yet to meet that person. Everybody's dealing with something. So don't compare yourself to anyone else. You have the most perfect life you will ever have because it's yours. It has your own DNA in it. It has your own challenges built into it. So let's grab ourselves by the bootstraps and go make it happen. That is what this first chapter is telling us. Own the responsibility of your own life, of your own spiritual destiny. Terrific, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you so much for coming. Drive safely.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And now, for
Get
those...
some rest.
I will try my best. We're going to talk about the men's...
Did you get my text?
I did not.
When we were away.